And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Oh, I'm getting kind of a funky echo here. Let me see if I can figure what's up with that. Okay, got kind of a weird echo on the line, so I'm finding out what that might be. Okay, maybe I'll switch to another microphone. Okay. Okay, that's a little bit weird. Not too sure why I got a bit of a reverberation in my microphone. Not too sure what that might be about. Let's see. I don't think anything else is on. Okay, testing. Yeah, still got that weird reverberation. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not too sure what's up. Not too sure why that is happening. Why there's a reverberation going on. Okay, well, we'll just have to make do. If I sound like I'm from Bizarro World, that'll have to do. So I'm not too sure what the issue might be with the reverberation. For some reason, if I go onto another microphone, it starts going pretty crazy. So anyways, I guess we'll just work around it. Again, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts. Let me go ahead and take this off. I'll have to figure out what is up with that. Lena says it sounds good. Okay. Well, it sounds like I'm in like a stadium. Right? Hearing a little bit of a reverberation effect. I'm not too sure why that's happening. That's very weird. Let me see if I can just change the plug-in here. Try that again. All right. Yeah, still happening. So that's weird. Out of all the broadcasts I've done, that's never happened before. So I'm not too sure what's happening. I'm not too sure if it's another program that's using the microphone or what it may be. But okay. Anyways, so with the episode today for the Signpost Live, we're going to be going ahead and looking deeply into viewer-based questions. All right. So viewer topics as well too, and of course taking some more Q&A. But first and foremost, before we go ahead and get started, we're going to go ahead and look into some announcements. And of course, this is the wrong discount code for October. So let me just see if I can fix that. So it is actually OCT22. And it's actually for 22%. You can see I was kind of starting last minute here today. So. All right, so use promo code OCT22, OCT22, all capital letters, for 22% off of your order. So that is available right now. You can go to etherics.co. You can also check out our social media, facebook.com, instagram.com. If you want to follow along, again, the Taurus bed kits are on the way. They're currently in customs, so they're just getting processed, and they'll be making their way over to my personal residence, and I will be selling them through an in-house product as well too. So I'm looking forward to that. So again, etherics.co, use promo code OCT22 for 22% off your order. Going to private sessions, one-to-one private sessions, distance healing session, 3-question private email session, full body source healing sessions. So the full body source healing sessions, I've already done a couple of them already, and they're really quite something. It provides such incredible detail. I got some feedback from the clients who I've already done the full body source healing sessions with. They absolutely love it. They're absolutely amazed with the kind of accuracy and the detail that the full body source healing sessions have. So I'm happy for that. It's definitely the most advanced and the most thorough type of healing session I've ever done out of any healing session I've done. But again, there's also the 3-area distance healing sessions that are also available, so we still have options there pertaining to healing. If you want to talk to me on private session, if you want to talk to Adronis through private session, that is possible through 3-question private email sessions. If you have questions for our journalists as well too, that is also possible. So you can check that out at newearthteachings.com. Again, all 4 of these sessions are available. And our final announcement is that everything on the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel is backed up onto our channel, our backup channel, odyssey.com/@newearthteachings. So you can always feel free to follow us there as well too. All right, so let me see if I can get past this crazy echo. Lena asked, will you be getting colored glasses? And yes, they are on the way. Hopefully we should have them ready by the early November. We're also getting eye masks as well too. So it's kind of like you have the eye mask when you're going to sleep. That also has the exact same coating as the sunglasses as well too. So that should be coming here in the next few weeks. It takes a little bit longer because they're preparing each one by hand, which is quite something. So hopefully that'll be here before the end of November. So yes, more products are on the way for Etherics. It's just a matter of processing, of getting these products together and sending them my way. So once they're here, I will definitely be letting everybody know about that. Okay. That's just the weirdest thing. I just feel like I'm speaking in a stadium or an auditorium or something. Getting like this big echo through my speakers. So quite strange. Okay. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start off with some questions today. So again, if you guys do have any questions, any topics of discussion that you want to look into, feel free to share that in the chat. All right, so we already have one here from Darling, ... Darling asks a Canadian question. That's okay, you and I are both Canadian. Darling asks, is our food supply going to get bad for a while? Okay, so I think I know what you're talking about in that way, but we can kind of give a little bit more of a broadness in that. I'm not too sure if you may be referring to the idea of just the food supply as in shortage, or in the idea of the food supply being, a lot of it toxic in that way. Is it going to get bad? So kind of looking into the Canadian food supply, I think we'll kind of utilize that as a topic and find out what is the momentum ahead for the Canadian food supply. Okay, and take a look at that, see what comes up. Okay, see what we get through the cards here. So is the Canadian food supply, what is the momentum ahead for the Canadian food supply? Okay. Well, I would say the situation is still remaining kind of the same at this particular point, right? There definitely needs to be new leadership that needs to come together, right? So basically we could say that there's, well, basically if we're looking at the two of wands, we're seeing that, again, there are actions to take to move it much more into an improved state, but there's still politicians, there's still policies, there's still all these regulations and everything that is still holding a lot of things back, right? We want to get something, but there's still kind of a standstill, right? In the past, pertaining to the food supply, again, this is really what it represents, right? So we've had some very horrible altercations pertaining to, again, just getting fresh, good food, right? So again, we're getting a lot of our crops, a lot of our foods under kind of government control, and that's not really what you want, of course. But the good news is that there may be some change afoot, okay? This is in the present moment. We may start to see new action coming together, but again, what's really causing this to happen are the greedy misers, right? It's a cabal thing in that way. So there needs to be some more action that's going to take place here. Again, kind of a feeling of charging in, right? Taking new action. And I think, like I said, it's going to be under a point of new leadership. So again, with the whole idea of the Canadian government, Canada is really going through its dark night of the soul right now, right? We basically have a lot of obstructions in the way that is casting a lot of these particular shadows. And it's for people to kind of look up and see exactly what is casting these shadows, and people taking much more of a stand. So it will be getting better eventually, but there are still some obstructions in the way. Again, a lot of it is political nonsense, regulation nonsense, policy-based nonsense, right? So there needs to be some major changes in regards to food supply. But again, it's a rat race. It's politicians just wasting each other's time, wasting everybody else's time. And like I said, it's all about the people standing up and demanding that. And through that stronger demand, there's going to be strong change that will follow. Okay, so going to get bad for a while. It's still kind of in that boat, but there are some significant changes coming together, right? So this is something we come together with. Like I said, for many Canadians, I would suggest coming together, doing a meditation, right? Working together and letting our food here in Canada start to improve, the whole food condition improve, supporting the farmers, right? Not trying to poison foods, not trying to put government regulations on food, right? Oh, that's not where that belongs. So again, there needs to be a lot of changes spoken out by the people. And again, so it is going to carry on for a while, unfortunately, but it is leading to some progressive change. So yes, that's what I can say then. Okay, let's move on to Eve. Eve here says, good evening, good morning. A question, how's the time, excuse me for a second. Gotta drink some water. How's the timeline for the event coming along? Is it likely to happen in 2023 or more in 2024, meaning the system exposing event? It's going to be a little bit longer than that, okay? So like I said, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be brought on the table first, right? When you're looking at the event, that's the culmination of many other events that have taken place that has brought such a tremendous exposure to basically everything that has jeopardized, contaminated, and corrupted our daily way of life, right? We still got a long way to go. I will look into a tarot reading with it, but to look at the event, and I haven't even heard that in quite a while too, about the event. Like I said, the event is just a culmination of many other events leading up into a very large buildup, right? What would that, quote unquote, the event look like? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's get an idea of what the event looks like first so that we know exactly what we're trying to see, okay? A lot of people talk about the event, but it just becomes so vague, right? They even made a TV show called The Event, right? So it needs to be looked at and saying, what would the event look like? How would the event play itself out? But as I said, it's a sequences of event that leads up into the culmination. It's like an orchestra, right? You're looking for the grand finale, right? And that's really what the event would represent. It's the grand finale of many other sequenced events coming together in a state of culmination and climax. But let's take a look at what the event is supposed to look like, okay? Let's see. I got the hiccups this morning and everything. It's weird. Kind of an interesting morning so far. So, but if I need help, I got my stress ball right here. It's actually my girlfriend's stress ball. I thought it'd just be kind of funny to put on the camera here. If you guys are stressed out, get your stress ball, right? Okay, let's take a look at what the event itself represents. Because that's important. If we don't know what that is, then we don't know what the event will look like at all, right? So let's take a look. Okay, well, basically from what I'm getting from the cards is that you'll know when the event is here. You'll know. It's basically something that cannot be denied. It's not something that can ever be ignored. It's not something that could ever be overshadowed, right? It's, again, this is kind of what the cards are telling us as well too. Work in sequence needs to come about, right? There's a sequence of events, and it's still ongoing, right? It's still not really here yet. We have not experienced it, of course. But when it does happen, you'll know it, right? It's something that will be, it could be cosmic, it could be biblical in that way. It could be something that is just so incredibly profound. It will impact the entire planet. In fact, there will be not one person on the planet who will not be impacted when the event happens, okay? And it's not really giving me too much leeway about what that represents, but it's something that's biblical, it's something that's prophetic, it's something that's cosmic, right? It's something you just will not deny. It just, once it shows itself, and behind the scenes just showing that there's still some work in progress here, right? We're still kind of leading up to these sequences of events that will culminate into something big. We haven't really even seen the big turnaround yet. This is the kind of funny thing. We're just seeing more and more exposure, more and more exposure, more and more exposure, just dump truck loads of exposure, dump truck loads of events and scandals and all that stuff. That's what it is. We're being set up for something. That's really what I can say. It's like I use that analogy with the chessboard, right? The king is in the corner, and all these other pieces are just kind of shrouding him because all of his other forces are being taken down silently in the night. And we haven't really even seen that turnaround yet. It hasn't been here yet, right? We keep feeling like it's going to happen. Like, okay, there's going to be a big turnaround that's going to happen where everything like a house of cards is going to fall. And it's like, no, we're just preserving, we're just building up the house of cards here so that when the time is right, there's that judo chop and the house of cards come tumbling down. We're still setting it up, right? We're still not at that point where we're going to engage, where we're going to execute that particular turnaround. It's like it's just being built up. It's just like all of these forces are just gathering around. They've silently taken things down in the heat of the night, but they're just waiting, right? It really is just a waiting game until they pounce, okay? So we haven't even seen the turnaround yet, right? The turnaround has not happened, and it really has not happened even for these past several years yet. There's just been a very big orchestration of, this is kind of what I feel intuitively. It's just like, here's the culprit, right? Here's the corrupt force. And you just have all of these things. It's kind of like they're just hiding in the bush. And they're just waiting. And the guy's like, well, come on, what are you waiting for? You're going to attack me or what? No. We're going to wait till you do something stupid. And then we will show ourselves, okay? That's really what's happening right now. It's a gathering. It's a preparation for a bait and switch. It's something that is just very, very huge, and they're kind of biding their time, right? And I know a lot of us would say, oh, come on, we can just get on with this already. Just take them out. It's like, well, no, we can't just take them out. We have to get them in one fell swoop. If we go ahead now, many of them are going to escape, and they're going to try again, and they're going to try and prepare for this, and we're going to lose our opportunity. In order for us to take this down completely, it needs to happen in one fell swoop. Cannot be something that's rushed, cannot be done through impatience. There just has to be that big moment, right? Once you get that turnaround and all of the events that equate to that turnaround happening, then you'll have an opportunity for all of these events to culminate into something pertaining to a climax, right? To the grand finale, right? You could also call the event the grand finale, okay? But it's also going to represent a giving back to the people as well too, right? And new seeds are going to be planted to, again, start bringing society into our right direction, into our harmonious direction altogether, right? So it's going to be an inner healing for the entire planet when that time comes for the event. So, yeah, like I said, I haven't heard that word said in quite a while. I haven't really heard people talk about the event in that way, at least not with big names in that way, who used to talk about it quite extensively. And then they've all kind of whispered down and, okay, I guess a lot of the things that we thought were going to happen right away are not happening right away. And it may take a little bit more time. It is going to take a little bit more time, right? Because the whole idea is that they want to get this all done in one fell swoop. We don't know when that's going to happen. Like I said, there's other events that are coming together that is leading to, again, a greater takedown, but it's kind of like you're just setting up all of these pins, and then you have this gigantic bowling ball that just can't miss. And then when you throw it, it won't even go into the gutter. It'll just knock down all of the pins that are being set up right now. That's really what we're looking into. That's really what's taking place. I would love to say to you guys, oh yeah, end of 2023, Cabal's gone. End of 2024, Cabal is history. Can't say that, right? What I have said in the past is that the 2020s decade is the decade of cleanup, right? It is a cleanup decade. So I do feel it will definitely happen before the end of the decade. But I can't guarantee that everything will happen in that way with 2023 or 2024. Saying, okay, it's the end of the Cabal, it's done, we're finished, let's go ahead and start healing the planet. Well, you're right. We would love to see that in that sense, but that's not in our hands. That's not for us to call. I can't call it, right? It's something that needs to play itself out as it needs to. Right now, there's just exposures. There's data dumps. Again, it's kind of like this coming of age ceremony, and it's like this very long ceremony that we're being played out with. And as much as we would like to get to let's just get to the end of the ceremony so we can get back to work, so we can do all this work, so we can clean everything up, that's really where we would love to see this, right? No doubt. That's not our plan, right? The collective energy is not in our hands. It's not something we can control. That's like me trying to say, okay, go ahead and control your subconscious. You can't, right? And the collective consciousness basically represents that. It's like the subconscious. You cannot control your own subconscious, and you cannot control the subconscious of the planet. Things happen as they do. So what are you doing in the meantime? What I've basically been saying week after week. Work on yourself. Heal yourself. Take care of yourself. Bring peace to yourself. That's what you can do. Okay? Whatever happens to the collective is not in my hands. It's not in any politician's hands. It's not in any world leader's hands. It's not in any hero's hands or anything of that nature. What is happening is through nature's hands, right? And it needs to unfold through nature's hands. Even when we're looking at the cards and saying, yes, the event is definitely going to happen, but we're nowhere near it, close to it yet. We haven't even seen the turnaround take place yet, right? And that's a big part of it. That's just the beginning stage. So when we're looking at events, you're basically looking several more years before anything like that happens, okay? A lot of us were excited going back into the 2000 tweens, right? 14, 15, 16, 17. And we were all thinking, okay, well, I guess the event's going to be coming here real quick. Maybe when 2020 comes around. Well, there was an event, but it certainly wasn't the event, okay? COVID was, again, part of a alibi, again, just something that represented a stage that they were allowed to work with so that we could see greater exposures of what they're all about. Everything that they tried to do is just revealing more and more of the type of people that we're working with, dealing with here, and watching them just fall apart, right? So this is an exposure time, right? This is an exposure era that we're working with right now. As much as we would love to turn the page and say, okay, let's get to healing now. Nope, you guys got to see more. Oh my God. Okay, fine, show us more, show us more, show us more. And that's what we're getting. So what do? You grab your stress ball and you start watching. Right? Well, like I said, guys, it's just there's a lot of things that are happening. This is a really good era as well, too, because it's exposing everything. You're seeing the true colors of these corrupt ones that are basically been thinking that they're running the planet altogether. And you're seeing them exposed, and more people are just distrusting. That's really the campaign right now. Get the people to completely distrust any form of authority that is trying to tell them what life is about, so that people can now start making up their own mind and learning how to live on their own, living in their own power. Okay, so I know that's a big answer, Eve, but that's what needed to come through. All right, got a donation here from Lishika. Lishika says, hi Brad, congrats on your move. Thank you for that. My question is, when will Julian Assange be released from the British prison? Not too sure if you guys have been hearing with Vivek Ramaswamy, with what he's been saying, because he was basically saying just too recently that he would pardon Julian Assange if he were president, okay? So what we can do is we can kind of look into him, right? But here's the thing about Julian Assange, and I don't say this in an offensive way or anything like that. He's basically playing a game as well, too, all right? So again, it's all part of a three-ring circus. He's part of the game. A lot of the stuff that they basically claim to decipher and decode and basically try to bring out to the public, it's nothing, right? That, again, is just part of a counterforce and dark force three-ring circus game, okay? All he has been doing is he was basically releasing things that he was allowed to release. He really couldn't do his own independent research. He was basically working together with the counterforces and saying, okay, here's certain things that you can spill, right? It was all based on sanitation. So a lot of what he represents is a figurehead for that. Again, he's a counterforce piece, right? So again, a lot of what he did, being much more of a spokesperson, being much more of a plant, right? That's really what his representation is. Same thing goes with Edward Snowden as well, too. They're plants. They work with counterforces. They're basically allowed to share certain amounts of information. This is why they get all this TV time, right? If you basically look at people who have had done way more research, who have basically been able to make far more discoveries, are they getting CNN time? Are they getting MSNBC? Are they getting mainstream exposure like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange has? Those are telling you guys they're part of the game, okay? They are not really genuine pertaining to what they're doing as journalists. They're playing a game relating to a particular agency, right? They work for agencies, and they basically are allowed to share certain information that's been sanitized to share. with all due respect to them, I'm sure they're wonderful people, those are not the genuine people that you really want to get behind, because they're much more political prisoners, and they're part of agencies, and they play games, right? So those are not the ones that really are going to be revealing the big information. Like I said, guys, you have people that are on the internet who have been doing this for many years that have all kinds of very deep information that would just blow a lot of the stuff that you see at mainstream media right now out of the water. They've never been able to get mainstream media time. Why is that? Because they're not part of an agency. Because they're not part of a three-ring circus, right? People that you see on the mainstream media who you think are revealing a lot of information, it's all plants, okay? It's all prearranged, it's all pre-coordinated, it's all scripted, right? And really the best thing you can put them as is political prisoners. They do work in certain levels of counterforce capacity, but in an agency paradigm, okay? They are not genuine independent journalists. They're puppets, okay? And that's basically what those guys represent, okay? Like I said, I'm sure they're nice people, but they're basically puppets. They're only allowed to share this amount of information. Okay, you're the guy that's going to share this information, all right? And yeah, we'll do our best to protect you, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, again, it's a chess game, right? You're just basically seeing a chess game, a jousting between both sides. And that's really what's happened with this. But let's take a look at Julian Assange about what is ahead for his future, okay? And see where things are taking him. But as I said, he is an agency specialist, right? He exposes things through the nature of an agency, not through his own will, okay? And that's kind of what makes a person kind of fake, right? And with all due respect, with the nature of them working with an agency, that makes their whole nature of credibility fake, okay? So again, there's a lot more people out there that bring about way more powerful information that do not get that kind of exposure. That's all part of the three-ring circus. So let's take a look at Julian Assange here. I don't even think he's really in prison. I don't think so, okay? He seems to be doing just fine, okay? I don't see the idea here of these cards from what I'm seeing here about him being in a prison, right? He's going through he's getting assistance, he's getting support in that way. There may be some opportunities for him. It just feels like, okay, guys, we got to get the stage ready. Let's get the set built here. All right, let's get the Julian Assange guy in here. All right, let's get him behind bars. Okay, look really sad. Oh, yeah, I'm in prison. It just doesn't feel legit to me, right? I don't even think he's in prison. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, right? This is what I say, is that you're part of this three-ring circus, right? If you're in a prison, why the heck would you be getting a card like this, right? This is basically what I asked, is, okay, what's the momentum ahead for Julian Assange? He's fine. He's completely fine. He's not in danger. He's not in harm's way. He's not anything like that. He's completely fine, right? He's basically being protected. So I doubt he's even in prison, right? I think the footage you guys are seeing is basically no more different than a soundstage, right? Oh yeah, he's in prison. It's not what I'm seeing here, okay? If it was prison, we'd be seeing a lot more harsher cards than what I'm seeing here. I don't think the guy is in prison at all, okay? I think that's nothing but a staged setup. I think it's nothing but a Hollywood soundstage. Nothing but a three-ring circus. So I sincerely doubt, from the cards that I'm seeing on the table right now, okay, that he is in prison. I doubt it, okay? You just will not see a card like this. It's like, Brad, he's fine. He's not in prison. They're making it out like he's in prison. They're making it out like, do you think he could really just hold himself up in the Ecuadorian embassy as long as he did? Guys, that's nothing but a movie. That's a three-ring circus. They really wanted him. They don't care if he's in an Ecuadorian embassy. They break in and they take him anyways. Come on, look what they've done to so many of these people who are trying to reveal free energy and who are trying to bring about these new technologies. You think they're just going to go hide in an Ecuadorian embassy and be safe? Give me a break. This is a three-ring circus. This is a show. This is a Hollywood soundstage. Julian Assange in regards to what he's going through. Looks like he's being taken care of quite well. He's in good company. It looks like he's in good spirits. He's protected. He's protected by the counterforces. Just like Trump. Trump is protected by the counterforces. He is immune. He has immunity. Assange has immunity. Snowden has immunity. They're players of a game. Do you guys see how none of this shit is real? Anything you see on the MSM, you might as well be watching a Hollywood TV show, right? You might as well be watching a courtroom drama, okay? None of this crap is real. So I'm not getting anything about him being in a prison whatsoever, other than him going to a set and say, oh yeah, I'm behind bars, free Assange, free guys. He's not even in jail, right? It's all a joke, okay? It's garbage. And this is all part of a three-ring circus trying to play out this whole coming-of-age ceremony. Like I said, you're just kind of like looking at the clocks. Okay, can we get through the coming-of-age ceremony? Yeah, okay, let's go to the fake prison here. Let's go take a look at fake Julian Assange inside this fake prison. Come on, look sad. Director's telling you to look sad. Okay, put some tears in your eyes. Okay, this is nothing but a bunch of garbage. So I'm only giving you guys my perspective. I'm just telling you guys exactly what I see through the cards. Nothing in regards to a Julian Assange tells me from what I just saw from the spread of the tarot, and even what I'm receiving from intuition, tells me that he is even close to being in a prison. He's not. Okay? Edward Snowden thinking that he's in exile, right? That he was basically seeking asylum. That's a nice story, right? And he's able just to get all this nice, crisp, clean video footage of him talking about these things, professionally made, being able to be showing in the big mainstream networks, by the way. Bullshit. Okay? That's exactly what it is. Hollywood, three-ring circus, a stage show. Exactly what I've been seeing for years. And we're seeing it. All right? So that's what's happening with Julian Assange. And that's what's happening with all these plants, these people that work with these agencies who basically have immunity, who are playing a role to, again, gather sympathy pertaining to the counterforce side, which is all fine and good. But like I said, you have people who are way more popular, who are way more intelligent, who have way more deeper information on the internet that are homegrown and organic, and they would love to be able to get onto the mainstream media. Have they? Nope. Okay, this is again where you got to look at the signposts. Okay, it's exactly why I call this the signposts. Signposts are telling you, guys, do you smell the bullshit in the air? Do you see the Hollywood three-ring circus pertaining to these so-called people that are given this breakout news? Give me a break. There's nothing phenomenal about your breakout news, right? For people like me who've been researching for 15 years, the kind of stuff that they bring out is child's play. Okay? Way more people online bring out way more deeper stuff than that, and they have never been able to be offered to go on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or anything of that nature, because it's nothing but a show, a three-ring circus, right? Now we're seeing it a bit now, aren't we, guys? Okay, let's go down the list, and thank you again for your question there. Let's go down the list here. Okay, I just had a question here. Okay. Lishika says, hi Brad, are you still doing Yoga Nidra? If you guys need a Yoga Nidra session, I would say just contact me, right? I've done it a few times, but it really just takes up a lot of my time, and I'm kind of focusing more on the healing work. But if you do want a Yoga Nidra session, you can just email me through newearthteachings.com and say, Brad, I'd like to do a Yoga Nidra, and I can set you up with one. So that's not a problem. Okay. So let's go down the list here a bit more. Okay. Leah says, will Germany's past be revealed? I can basically tell you right off the bat, yes. Okay? There's no more secrets anymore, Leah. I know you have more of your information here. There's no more secrets anymore. Okay? Everything pertaining to what's been kept in the closet, pertaining to a country, pertaining to a leader, pertaining to its people, everything's going to be exposed. It's very much like what I've talked about. And we're being set up for that. Like I said, we're seeing the idea that there's a surrounding of presence around this pillar that's been the obstructing pillar, casting the shadow upon the planet, right? And basically it's all just being a setup, and they're going to pounce when the time is right. Right now, everything is being leaked. Everything is being exposed. This, again, is what agencies are doing. They're basically bringing about sanitized things that can be permissible to be exposed to the human population. Okay. Germany's past, yes, will be revealed. Not just them, but many other countries pretending their past is going to be revealed. But it all just has to show up at the right time, right? The stars have to align for that. Okay, so you said, I'm an English woman who's married a German. I've been living in Germany for 40 years, watching the great burden of guilt that has immobilized the Germans. You're right, right? And Germany has certainly had a great immobilization there. But I'm also discovering quite a few other countries who have also been very heavily immobilized as well, too. We're looking at Israel right now, very immobilized. We're looking at Australia, right? We're looking at I would say, the continent of Australia. We're looking at great immobilization there. Okay, we're looking at other areas in Asia, other areas in Europe, other areas even across to North and South America. Okay, a lot of us are being immobilized. Okay, Germany certainly has a very intense immobilization. But again, all of these things need to be set up because it's trying to rile up the people. It's trying to get them to say, come on, if you guys really stand up and you work together, that's exactly why all these things are happening, right? It's like, no matter how many different questions I get, the answer just remains the same, guys. I wish I could give you guys a different answer, but there isn't one. All of these things are happening so that people will therefore get riled up, will not take it anymore, and stand up. Okay? However long that takes is up to the people. That's the subconscious. Okay? What you're doing, like I said, work on yourself. That's the most important thing to do at this time. You'll know when the bell chimes. You'll know when the whistle blows, and you'll know when all to come together. You'll know when it's coming together. You'll know when to stand together. You'll know when the breach happens. Okay? It's not something that you can miss. Like I said, those are the types of sequences that will lead up into an event. Okay? Thank you, Leah. Okay, so Martin right now is asking me, hey, Brad, what is the energy for the Netherlands right now? Okay. Pretty much the same as I've looked at with many other countries, I can tell you. All right, but let's take a look. So I've looked at all different types of countries in regards to Brad, how's the momentum going? I was like, guys, it's still ongoing, still ongoing. Like I said, you got to wait for the bell to chime, and you got to wait for the whistle to blow. And you're going to know when that happens, right? And that's when there's just going to be an immediacy of where people are now starting to stand together because of the momentum of what the people want, and everybody will get on that bandwagon, and there will be significant changes taking place country to country. Okay, so with the nature of the Netherlands, stand by, stand by, stand by. Okay, that's really what I'm seeing here. Okay, slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so again, more exposure, more feeding of this stuff. What's happening with the Netherlands right now? Okay, all these scandals are taking place. All these secrecies are being revealed. Seeing the true leaders as they are. Seeing how corrupt your government is. People talking. People smoozing with each other. Ideas coming together. Ideas being brought forward into reality. Right? This is exactly what we're seeing here with the hope and fear. Okay? Conception coming together, ideas coming together, because we've seen, again, kind of the magic money show with a lot of these politicians. And there, again, is still staged events that are taking place. And this is, again, why it just feels like there's things at a standstill right now. It's just spewing of information, spewing of knowledge that's coming out, spewing of exposure that's coming out here, and nothing's really happening. Well, of course not, because this is part of the coming of age ceremony where you basically have to look and listen at all of the corruption that's been happening because it's reaction time. Okay? As it gets into reaction time, it now starts to get into the state of critical thinking. As it starts to get into the critical thinking, plans and conceptions of manifestation now start to come together. As those manifestations come together, ding, 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 here comes the bell, because it is in many people's interest to attend the new conceptions that are coming together for a particular country. They will therefore come together. It's something you can't miss. Everybody will be talking about it, and you'll see yourselves coming together, standing up, watching all of these old political figures and corrupt ones basically lose all their power, and humanity coming together and scooping up all of that power and putting it into themselves, building new ideas, new innovations in that way. It's just not time for that culmination point to act yet. I wish, boy do I wish I could tell you guys that it is, but it's not. Right? It's not time. And when it is time, the bell will chime, the whistle will blow, the gong will sound, and you will know when it's time. It's not time yet. Right? That's all I can say, guys. And I'm only telling you this as a messenger, because Brad doesn't hold the keys to the kingdom. He's not the one that's calling the shots with the entire collective consciousness, deciding exactly when dinner time happens. Okay? All I'm basically telling you is exactly what is taking place right now. It's part of the coming of age ceremony where you're hearing all the speeches, you're hearing all the exposures, you're getting all the news, you're getting all the information. People are reacting, people are talking, people are thinking, people are getting ideas, they're conceiving things, etc. That's what's happening right now. That's where we are collectively, country to country to country to country to country. You're all gathered around a circle. You're hearing this news. Oh my God, what, really? Is this happening? Oh my God, is that happening? Blah, blah, okay, we need to start doing this, but we got to start planning first. We got to take care of that, blah, 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 blah. Right? It's that schmoozing that's happening here. That's what's taking place. That's the era where we are right now. It's an exposure era. And through exposure will therefore come action. And for that action to happen, you need to hear the bell. You need to hear the whistle blow. You need to hear the gong sound. And when that happens, believe me, you will know it. Everybody will talk about it, about what's happening. Okay? You can't miss it. That's the best I can give you, because that's what Spirit is giving me to tell you guys. Okay? I don't care what country you're in. That's basically the rundown for every single country on the planet right now. All of us are in the exposure era. And at some particular point, whenever that happens, whenever the stars align, when nature says, okay, it's time for us now to come into the action era, poof, the bell sounds, the gong hits, the whistle blows, and you will know it. Okay? That's what I'm getting to tell you guys. Let's go down the list a bit more. Okay, so I just got Lishika's question, so thank you, Lishika, for that. Paranet says Simon Parks also says he's not in prison. He'd be right. He'd be very correct about that, because I'm getting the same thing. He's not in prison, okay? Julian Assange is not in a prison, even though you may see video clips of him doing that. That's the Hollywood soundstage, okay? Maybe that's AI photography, I don't know. But nonetheless, that is not legitimate. He is immune. Okay? Just part of his role, okay? You did all this stuff, now we got to put you aside for a while. And then when we need you, we'll call you. All right. In the meantime, enjoy your chateau. Sometimes we'll need you to get on set though, so we need you to have like some sad faces, right? When he gets you on the sound stage, and go ahead, just make those sounds, make those sad faces. Okay. All garbage. All three-ring circus. So Simon Parks would be correct as well too. I would completely agree with him on that. Okay, here's a question here from Nancy. Nancy says, can you say where is Ecuador with the new president heading? Is Daniel Noboa the new elected president in service of others? How about South? Okay, well, let's stick with one topic here, Nancy, okay? How about we just stick with Ecuador? I know you guys have multiple questions, but I like to keep it, single topic for each person, okay? So let's take a look at Ecuador, where the new president heading is Daniel Noboa, the new elected president in service of others. Okay, so let's take a look at Daniel in regards to where he is pertaining to his service of others as a new elected president for Ecuador. Let's just take a look at that, okay? See what comes up. Uh, well, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but I think there's some problems with this guy. Okay? I think there's some problems with him. I think he's going to be breaking some hearts relating to him, and I feel like he may be another patsy once again, right? Basically, well, it does feel like there's some hope and fear with this, so that's kind of the good news, right? Maybe he's meant to be like that just because there's going to be a greater exposure. Maybe it's all part of a tear down of an old system, okay? So he's been planting some seeds behind the scenes, okay? So there's something here that is about to sprout. And maybe again, it feels like there's a preparation period that is going to lead to an immediate downfall. These two are interrelated together with each other. So there may be something in regards to being on the defensive with how he is, with what he's trying to bring about. And it feels like whatever he's trying to do is going to cascade in downfall. So I can't really say for sure if he's a patsy for the old regime. I'm kind of getting that impression, but it's kind of a good thing that he's in the position that he is, because this is going to lead to a greater exposure to Ecuador, okay? Like I said, guys, we're not in the action era, we're in the exposure era. And I think he just represents an exposure-based president pertaining to Ecuador. Like I said, guys, if you put so much faith into a particular leader thinking that they're going to turn everything around, you're deluding yourself, okay? I know a lot of these big world leaders make a lot of big promises. These people that are running for presidential candidates are making big promises, and they may be deliver on some, right? But they're not going to be able to turn around. One man cannot turn around your problems, okay? One man cannot turn around a country's problem, because when you're looking at a president, he is not an independent leadership figure. He's not. They're not meant out to be like that, and that's the same way for pretty much every country, whether it's a president, a prime minister, what have you, okay? They are not the one man who is like the lone wolf, who is the top dog, who is cutting all the decisions. They answer to other people, okay? So the whole idea is that it's not about what they want. They basically say, okay, well, you're okay, we'll put you in office. You do what we say. You do what we say, and you let out what you let out. There's some things that you may have some say for. But a lot of the stuff, a lot of the major stuff, you just do what we say. We tell you to bark like a dog, you bark like a dog, right? That's really how it goes, guys. And I wish I could tell you it goes other ways, but it doesn't. Okay? Whenever you're looking at presidents, president-elects, presidential candidates, again, some things they may be able to pull off themselves. But the majority of stuff that really is, again, the world-bending situations, they have to answer to higher authority. And that higher authority is not on the television screen. It is not on the internet. It is not in the media. Right? They are very much sitting on top of their ivory tower, calling the shots. Okay? So when you're looking at the Ecuadorian new president in that way, it feels like there's some scandals that are ready to come out, but in a way that's kind of a good thing, because it's going to lead to a greater exposure that needs to be revealed, so that more of the past of Ecuador can come about, so that it can have a prosperous time ahead. It's the same pattern that I'm getting for pretty much every single country I've looked at. I've looked at dozens and dozens and dozens of countries, especially over the past couple of years. It's the same stuff, guys. Same stuff. I'd love to tell you that something new is happening, but the cards aren't showing that, right? Even my intuition is saying, no. Still just an exposure era, guys. That's where we are, okay? The gong will sound, the whistle will blow, and you will know when we go into the action era. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I'm only giving you guys my perspective. If you don't believe me, you can always feel free to look at these things yourself and see what you come up with. But this is exactly what I'm getting to share with you. Kara also says, Janine also said that he was actually released years ago. Well, guys, I don't think he was ever in prison. I'm just not getting the feeling that he was ever in prison, right? I don't feel the idea that he was ever in jail. I don't feel the idea that he was ever incarcerated, not for as long as he was working with his agency. Right? I'll just refer to them as the agency. For as long as he's been with the agency, he hasn't even touched a real jail. Right? He's never even been really incarcerated. It's nothing but a movie. So I can only say in regards to what I'm getting. Right? Janine says that. That's great. I love Janine, and that's what she's sharing. That's great. But it's also saying that she's probably saying that he's not in jail either, which would be correct. Right? But I'm getting the feeling he's never been in jail. Right? Not for as long as he's worked with the agency. Not for as long as he's had this immunity. That's what I'm getting. Okay, let's go down to Terry. Terry says, is it true we need 12 strands of DNA in order to ascend. So we got a spiritual question here. 12 strands of DNA in order to ascend. If we don't have the 12 strands, are we meant to just remain in a 3D construct, or would we pass on and go through new dimensions as we free Earth? Has nothing to do with 12 strands whatsoever, guys. One sec. Guys, I don't have 12 strands of DNA. Okay? Nobody I know has 12 strands. Well, that's not true. One person I know has 12 strands of DNA. Okay? Not really someone I've met directly, but more indirectly. Okay? One person I know has basically claimed that they have 12 strands of DNA, where their DNA strands looks like a snowflake. All right? And they're able to do all these incredible abilities and so forth. To move into a state of ascension is a new age concept, and that's not an accurate description about what is happening. The whole idea is to free yourself. All right? Your own personal ascension is the ability for you to be at home with who you are. It's to come into center. It's to move yourself, not even really move yourself, but come into the realization of who and what you are. That's all it comes down to, right? We're always looking at a lot of these religious aspects. An ascension is more of a religious principle, right? It's the ascending into the light. It's the ascending back to the Father. It's the Christ within. Okay, that's great. But you're looking more in the idea of an ascension as a religious principle. And that's really not what it's about. Okay? We'll utilize that maybe in a certain context, and we'll look at that in certain ways pertaining to its religious usage. But even when you look at the word ascension, it's a religious concept. It's a religious term. It goes back into Christianity, really. Okay? That's not what's happening. Okay? When you are going into your own particular nature of enlightenment, it's because you've realized who and what you are. I don't care if you have 2 strands, 3 strands, 12 strands, 100 million strands. Okay? That doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're working with, going within, you're looking at all the problems, the conflicts, everything that represents resistance in your life, and you're bringing peace to it all. For one, in that sense, who has truly realized they do not hold any particular beliefs, they do not hold any particular forms of attachments pertaining to people, places, events, or things relating to this planet. They are completely free. That's what it entails, right? When you are advancing yourself, because this is the term that Adronis would use quite a bit, is he talks about advancement, not ascension, okay? Your advancement is helping you to understand more and more of who you are, to understand more of your true nature, to come into the non-dual of yourself, to realize the true non-dual nature of life. That is one who is advancing. That is one who is progressing into such a state that represents a transcendent nature. Okay? It has nothing really to do with ascension other than looking at ascension in that particular way. It's not about thinking you're going to go out into your porch and at one particular night you'll just burst into a stream of light and then you're out of here. Okay? Nonsense. That's not what it's about. For you to even go into that particular type of level requires such a mastery pertaining to body, to mind, to heart, to soul, to spirit, that the majority of the people on this planet couldn't do if no matter how hard they tried. Okay? That requires so many different years, so many years of going into states of seclusion, of learning from great masters, of basically being on your own and just contemplating God every single moment that you exist. That's what it takes for something that would represent that. Okay? To basically go into a rainbow body, to go into a golden body of light in that sense, requires so many years of inner contemplation where you're doing mantras, where you're basically just meditating 12 to 16 hours per day, contemplating on the divine, contemplating on God, contemplating on true mastery. That's what it takes. Do you see anybody in your modern world doing that? No. So that's not how it works, okay? You will certainly go through advancement if you're willing to commit yourself to making peace with your life, because that's all what's required. I'm not saying you guys need to go off and activate your rainbow body, your etheric body, your golden body. Okay, that's not what it requires. It's the ability, and this is what many masters have done, is the ability to go into these beautiful states of enlightenment and integrate the divine into the physical. That's what it takes. That's what I'm doing. Okay, but there's still challenges that I go through as well too. So again, I wouldn't get so caught up with 12 strands and ascension and working with your chakras and all that stuff like that. Working with your chakras is important, but it's not about thinking that it's going to be some magic formula where you're just going to burst into a stream of light. Okay? A lot of that stuff, guys, is complete and total garbage. And as I've said, if you guys are utilizing the internet as a resource, please make sure you're discerning very well, because the 90 to 95% of this stuff on the internet is crap. Okay? 90 to 95%. So I hope you guys are really good with discerning exactly what is the good stuff, what is the good material. And I can give you a hint of what the good material is. It's nothing you find in the modern day. You need to go back into ancient times. You need to look at ancient texts. You need to look at ancient scriptures. You need to look at ancient ways of how this has happened, because you're sure as hell not going to find it in the modern times. Okay? So many people who think they know don't. And this is why I basically said, like, a lot of people have come to me and, Brad, have you heard of this expert? You had heard of that expert and stuff. Nothing against them personally. I'm sure they're wonderful people, but their information is completely wrong. And I've had to say that for many people, right? And I won't go against giving my personal opinion with them, right, in regards to their personal life or anything like that. But professionally, a lot of these guys are wrong, okay? And a lot of the people that are also mainstream are wrong, okay? That's not where you're going to find your harmony. Because again, first of all, if you're looking externally for your harmony, you're a hamster running a wheel, right? It all needs to start from within here. Go back into the simplicity of everything. And that starts at the beginning with yourself in your heart, right? That's where you have to begin. That's where you have to start. You have to start there. And you soften and you lighten everything up. If you guys have been watching my channel for a very long time, you've seen a lot of the information that I put on this channel. All I can tell you is that comes from a lot of ancient knowledge. That comes from a lot of ancient wisdom. I really do not follow people pertaining to modern way things, or I got this kind of neo-based understanding of all these things. They just don't pan out because they still don't understand. These are people who are students who have not earned the nature of mastery yet. They're still students who think they know, but they don't, right? And you need to go back into the ancient ways. You need to listen to the ancient masters. And it really is just simple messages. Go into the heart, lighten yourself up, soften yourself, work with yourself, expand yourself, feel the contemplation of what it is to have love, feel the contemplation to be love, right? And that softens you to the point when you look at any particular problem within your life, boom, gone, boom, gone, boom, gone, all destroyed, all transcended, all released. And you feel that love, you feel that bliss. And the only people you're going to see in the modern day who are actually on track are the ones who have done the research into the ancient wisdom. Those people are on track. Okay? That's all I can say. But again, your own enlightenment is always up to you. Nobody can give it to you. It's always for you to take care of. Okay? Let's go ahead and move down. So like I said, it has nothing to do with DNA strands. I don't care if you have 12. Okay? Even the guy I know who's had 12 strands, he's had a very tough life. Right? He had a lot of challenges. I'm sure he's doing quite well right now, but they've had challenges as well too. Just because you have 12 strands of DNA doesn't mean that that's a get out of jail free card. Okay? You still got challenges to do, even though you have a great deal of capabilities, where you can basically manifest a body like that, where you can go out into astral travel like that, where you can do miraculous healing like that, right? Where you can duplicate yourself, you can bilocate like that. Doesn't mean that's a get out of jail free card. You guys think that abilities are going to get you out of this stuff. It's not, right? It all comes from the ability of discipline. Even a lot of the masters will talk about siddhis, right? Psychic prowess, where you can teleport, where you can levitate, where you can shrink yourself down to the microscopic level, where you can make yourself as vast as the universe. Who gives a shit? That's not going to get you out of your problems. And what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to make themselves into a superhero. having all of these abilities, having all these capabilities, but do not have the wherewithal to discipline themselves to use them responsibly. Because a lot of people will kill themselves by utilizing those abilities because they, again, have so much stupidness in them, right? It is the ability for you to gain a discerning here, to become humble, right? And when you realize you have those abilities, you don't care that you have them. Okay, guys? I will give you an example, right? I have unique healing abilities. You guys have seen it. But if I was dicking around with these things, having a big head, telling everyone, oh, guys, I can heal you up, and I can use the source vibration, and I can heal you up, and no problem, and I'm going on talk shows, and I have such a big inflated head, it's going to be a path of self-destruction. And the key to these abilities is that you have to learn to be humble with them, right? You can certainly utilize them for service. You can utilize them for support. You can even create a business around them. That's completely fine. But you're learning to be humble with it. You're not feeling that you're an egomaniac and you're above everybody else and I'm walking around like my poop don't stink, okay? That's something you have to really consider, right? The whole key here about really working in the discipline is learning to be humble and trying to be non-reactionary, okay? Learning not to react. And that's why sometimes I have a bit of a dry face on me, right? I'll laugh at times as well too. But when a person meets me, it's like, Brad's not really expressive. He's oh, okay, how's it going? Yeah, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. He just feels like he's kind of dry. It's because I'm working on non-reacting, guys. That's the whole idea. And again, I just take it to a certain degree because if I was completely in a state of non-reaction, I would be the last person you'd want to talk to. It's like, Brad's so boring. Oh my God. He should just be a monk on the top of the mountain and just like going up there and meditating and stuff like that because you can't relate to the guy. And that's true. If I was completely in a state of non-reaction, you couldn't relate to me. I wouldn't even have the wherewithal to even say a word to you, right? You cannot relate to a person like that. And so I still have to kind of hold back because I'm still interacting with the world. I'm still interacting with modern society. And I had to make this decision quite some time ago. Do I decide to go all the way? Do I decide to basically withdraw from society and leave all of this behind? No YouTube, nothing. And just go on my own and just completely move into a state of non-reaction and just stay with God. And that would be my life. And I said, no, I don't want that. I want to be able to be here for the modern world, to offer assistance when I can, to be of service in the way that I can. And I've chosen a middle path, right? But basically, I was certainly considering that years ago. I'll probably just go get a little trailer. I'll live in that trailer, and I'll just contemplate God for the rest of my life, because that was a choice that I had to do. And I said, no, I will stay in the modern world. I will be here with people. I will be of service, because me being of service to help out in that way, as it also helps me, is exactly what I want to do. And that was the decision that I made. Okay? Some of us may come together with that decision, and some of us may choose the former decision rather than the latter, where we just go get a little shack in the bush, where we get a little cabin, and we buy a little trailer, and then we just completely withdraw from society together, and the rest of our years is spent in nature contemplating God, because I had the option to do that, and I didn't. I want to be here. I want to offer service, because that's something that fits the best with me. Okay? You may come upon that decision one day yourself, and you're going to have to make the same decision, right? Okay, how are we on time? How are we on time today? I'm getting a dry throat again. Talking so much today. I didn't have that much water today, so that's why throat is a little dry today. Okay. Okay, here's one from Heather that I think is a good question, because we'll look into that. Heather says, hi Brad, so glad I'm able to catch the live. Question, how does the split and move to 5D mean? Do people who have moved to 5D still live in here in the 3D world affected by the clowns running the show? I love the way you put it there, Heather, because I say the same thing. The clowns running the show. So she's talking about the split, right? Dolores Cannon has talked quite a bit for many years when she was alive about the splitting of worlds. Throat is really dry today, which is fine because I'm not sick or anything, but throat is dry. So she's talked about the splitting of the worlds, right? Kind of like the idea of like watching a cell divide, right? Adronis has also talked about the splitting of worlds altogether too. So if we basically go through that split, do we still have to be affected by the clowns running the show? You still have to observe it, yeah. You are not, see again, this is a wrong premise. Again, we're still conditionalizing ourselves thinking that, oh, if I move into this great state of enlightenment, I don't have to listen to the clowns anymore. Okay? It's okay to call it it's a clown show, you're right. It is a clown show, right? The ancients will talk about Maya, you know, how it's impermanence and how it's an illusion, and that's true. It is a clown show. But if you are basically going into a state of enlightenment to move past that, then you're not going into enlightenment. How can I put this, guys? You have to love everyone. And you have to love everything. Okay, that is not an option. That is a necessity. You have to learn that if I'm uncomfortable with how a person is, or I'm uncomfortable with how an event is in the world, and if I have nothing but utter distaste and bitterness towards that, you are not going into enlightenment. You are staying in duality. This is not about the idea of, again, a get-out-of-jail card where maybe I need to be 51% of service to others and I go into a certain avenue pertaining to a new dimension. Okay, well that can happen when you leave the body. Okay, but you're still going to learn, you're still going to evolve, you're still going to advance yourself because you have not come into the hands of God yet. You have not brought yourself into the one with union. And that's the key here. You have to love everyone and everything, right? To basically go all the way, to return back into your source, to go back into union, is to appreciate all life, whether it is divine or whether it is detestable. You gotta love it all, right? That's what it takes. Okay, for those who are still challenging themselves and still going through that, you'll reach certain heights. You certainly will. You probably could go into a new earth, right? Because you're still learning about living through the heart. It's like I've talked about before, is if we're looking at the 6 chakras, right? And we're moving up into the heart path. Okay, when I'm in the heart path, sure, maybe I don't love everybody, but I am compassionate. I do want to be here to serve. I do want to be here to help. Okay, great. Then you will be in correspondence to different realms that are representative of that type of vibration, such as a new earth. Okay? Because they're still learning to do that on a new earth, right? It's not just the idea of the new earth that's your only green light on the board here. You have an infinite amount of planets to choose from. You have an infinite amount of galaxies to choose from. You have an infinite amount of realms and planes to choose from, right? Let yourself be aware of your options, thinking that there's just a new earth because somebody popular talked about it and that's it. It's not, guys. You have an infinite amount of decisions to make. And it can come through in all different types of ways. This is why I say these things. And people are like, Brad, how come more people aren't saying what you're saying? I don't know. It's a good question. Because when I look at these things and I start saying, so well, nobody else talks like that. Well, I don't know. I can't really speak for them. But this is exactly what I've learned. This is exactly what when I'm talking to you guys about this, this is what I've personally experienced. When I go up into the new earth, sure, I was invited. I went there. I did my yoga nidra. I went in there. I saw my projected body. And I saw an absolutely beautiful world. And if that resonates with you because you are on the heart level and that's what you want because it's more important to you than anything, then go. But right now, you're in this body, you're on this earth, you got work to do here, right? Don't let that distract you. Maybe if you have a free day off and you want to do some yoga nidra and you go off and you project your astral body and you want to go ahead and take a glimpse at the new earth, go ahead and do it. Or you lucid dream to new earth, go ahead and do it. But don't let that pull you out of what you're here to do, because what you're here to do is important. And your head needs to be here and your heart needs to be here. You need to be integrated in the body. Bring the divine in and let it work with the integration of the body, rather than getting distracted about what you do when your body croaks. You don't need to worry about that right now, okay? Let your life be taken care of by you being here, present in the body, being able to make the decisions that are helping you to go even further up the barometer. That's what it's about. So when people basically go through this split, it's because it's the heart-centered people they're going to go. You're not heart-centered. You ain't going nowhere. Okay, that's just basically the nature of the split. You're looking at something that's right in between the navel and right between the heart. Third chakra, fourth chakra, right? And we're utilizing that just as a simple scale. It's actually a little bit more than that. But that will be an appropriate scale. A person who is not heart-centered will not be able to experience that splitting of a world. It won't happen because you're not in the vibrational state for that to happen, right? It's like looking at a two-dimensional square, trying to feel what it's like to be a three-dimensional cube, right? For you to be that three-dimensional cube, you got to be in the heart space. You're not going to be able to observe that if all you see yourself is as a two-dimensional being, right? That's the best way that can be used in the form of an analogy. You have to move yourself up. You have to let yourself love. You have to bring in compassion. You have nothing but hate for this world. If you have nothing but hate for all the people in it, if you have nothing but hate for all of the events that are taking place and everything that you believe life is, where life sucks and everything's unfair and I get mistreated and I get the shaft and blah, 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 you're not in a heart space. You're down here in the bowels of yourself. And as long as you stay there, you stay in the bowels of life. And you will always get guides that are helping you up, but if you keep fighting, it's like the quicksand is going to just continue to suck you under, right? The whole key here about working with yourself, starting from the heart level, is that when you do that, there will be so many opportunities for you to go, okay? But what I'm talking about is going all the way back into union, going back all the way to God, where you are looking at the epitome of what love is. You are looking at the epitome of what compassion is. You are looking at what the epitome of enlightenment is. And it all has to do with God. It all has to do with the divine. It all has to do with union. That's the nature of it all. Okay? So for one who decides to work through the splitting of worlds, because the split's already happened, guys, it's already done. Okay? Fourth density Earth is available right now. I know, I've been there. It's already available. But the whole idea right now is that you're in a third density body and you have to live out this life. Whatever happens after your body croaks is up to you. You want to go to fourth density Earth? Okay. Are you living in your heart space? Yes. Okay. Go to New Earth and have a wonderful time there. Have a blast. Oh, okay, I'm going to go to this other star system. Maybe I'll go to the Pleiades. Okay, I'll do that. Maybe I'm going to go to this other transgalactic star system that's very far away, and I'll start moving into more of these higher realms. And I was, okay, great, have a blast. But right now, you got to be here. You got to take care of this body. You got to take care of this life. You got to be aware of the relationships that you have forged in this life, because that's your responsibility, rather than getting distracted about splitting of worlds and of other Earths and of other places, blah, 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 blah. You will have a time and a place for all of that stuff, but it's not here and now. Here and now, you need to be here. Here and now, you need to learn about the nature of love. Here and now, you need to integrate. That's what you need to do. And when you do that, the rewards become greater. So I hope I've made that clear to everybody. This is just the perspective that I'm giving you, okay? When I look at the idea of going to New Earth, I'm not going to New Earth every single day. I've gone to it a couple of times, and that's it. I've seen it for what it is. Brad, will you go there? I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility of endless possibilities. It's a nice, beautiful world, I can tell you that. But I don't know. I will make that decision when this body croaks, not before. Okay? That's really how I'm looking at it. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes left, so we'll probably take a couple more questions. Okay. Mandy says, hi Brad, when will we start seeing prices go down again? Guys, we're in the information era, right? We're in the exposure era right now. That is a time of action that you're referring to, okay? Seeing prices go down will come in the action era, okay? And like I said, guys, you will know when the action era happens. You will hear the gong. You will hear the whistle blow. You will hear the bells chime. Okay? You will know that. You're in the exposure era right now. Nothing is looking to get better in the exposure era other than informing you exactly of where we have put all of our power throughout all of these centuries towards crooked politicians and world leaders that have nothing but their own best interests at heart and very little for the people that they feel they govern. Okay? That's where we are right now. And there will come a time, it could come tomorrow, could come next week, could come next year. I'm not even getting that in the cards about when it will come. Just in the idea of saying you will know when it will come. You will know when the era of action comes. Again, it could be very, very soon. Could be a little bit later on, but you will know, right? So that's what I can say. If I knew the exact date and the exact time, I'd be telling you guys. I don't have that answer. You say, just keep listening to the signposts. Keep watching them, and you will know. Here's the bell. Here's the gong. Here's the chime, right? And now it's time for action. You will know when it comes. Okay. Okay, just going down the list here. We're probably going to take about 2 or 3 more questions, guys. We're going to wrap up. Okay. I'm just still looking through the list here, guys. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's look into Elena's question here about, Brad, will the IRS remain officially for the next year? Or will it be abolished or substituted? Okay, well, let's take a look at your first question. Okay, will it remain official by next year, by 2024? Okay, let's take a look at that. All right, let's take a look, see what comes. That's why I call it the signposts, guys. We just have to start paying attention to the signposts, be aware of what is actually being obvious that maybe our conscious self doesn't see at first, but our subconscious certainly sees it, and you got to start listening to the subconscious because it's going to tell you these little flutters of things that are happening, and when you finally catch it, you're going to understand exactly what happens. It's how we get into the subtlety, through our subtle energy, listening to the subtle, oh, there's that subconscious little imprint right there, blip. You pull it up, you expand it. Oh, that's what's going on. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys is coming from the subconscious, not the conscious, right? So, in the regards to the IRS, well, they're going through a lot of battlegrounds right now. I guess you could say a lot of camaraderie. That's the word I'm looking for. So, a lot of camaraderie pertaining to the IRS. Personally, I feel like it's probably already been taken down in the way that it is. But again, there's still like a seed of it that's still being utilized in that way. I don't think the IRS is the IRS as it used to be. I feel like it's already basically at a point of being taken over, because this basically shows a card of union. All right. I feel like it's already been integrated into something else, but it's still just playing the 3-clown circus show here. All right. So I feel like changes have already happened. Changes have already taken place. The IRS. I don't even think the IRS is standing anymore, but there's still some type of cover to give the impression that the IRS is still around. But even though I don't think they are. They're either under some other different type of management, or again, they're playing a game with it. So, okay, we basically have taken this down, but we'll still act as if the IRS is around. We'll basically create another department to handle this in the meantime. So from what I'm getting here, there has been so much camaraderie pertaining to the IRS, it's already been taken down. It's already been integrated into something else. And whatever that new department may be, a new sector or anything of that nature, is already running that, is running the IRS as if it is the IRS. Kind of like doing business as the IRS without it actually being the IRS, right? So I'm getting the feeling it's not even around anymore, right? It's basically under a sheath, it's under a doing business as, but it's not the IRS of what we would know anymore. It's already gone, right? So that's what I'm getting out of the cards, from what the cards are telling me pertaining to that. So I feel like it's already gone, but like I said, it needs to basically play up kind of like the ante and say, okay, well, yeah, okay, the IRS is still around, and we're going to expose it, but again, it needs to come when the stars align. right? It just feels like one of many things that are going to be exposed at some particular point. Because I'm not getting the feeling that the IRS is even around anymore. It's been integrated into something else, right? So very, very interesting there. I don't have all the answers, guys. Like I said, I'm not a financial expert or advisor or anything of that nature. But all I'm seeing is that I think it's been moved into something else. There's been a camaraderie with it. Something may have been, again, completely disassembled and then packed into this new agency or sector or division or something like that that is pretending to run as the IRS. It's weird. It's very weird. None of these things really make sense, guys, but that's basically what's happening. In front of the scenes, we think that the IRS is still standing, but they're not. They're pretty much gone. They're pretty much dissolved, and some other entity is running as them, doing business as them. Weird, right? Okay, I think we're going to probably do one more question, guys, and we're going to wrap up. Okay, this is from Heather. So 1 second. Okay, I think she's talking about Pierre Poilievre. Can't really pronounce his last name. But he is basically looking to run as prime minister, okay? Well, why don't we let the cards answer that question, okay? I could say something, but I'll let the cards do that. Is Pierre P. compromised, okay? So he's the candidate that's running for prime minister of Canada of the Conservative Party, okay? We'll just ask, is Pierre P. compromised? Okay, let's see what the cards have to say about that. I've heard people say, oh, he's part of World Economic Fund and all that stuff like that. So let's see. Let's see. Is he compromised? Okay. Not that I'm seeing. No. Okay. He's very sincere in what he does. He's very sincere in what he says. But he is going to be held back in doing a lot of the things that he wants to do. If he's elected prime minister, like I said, you don't just have free reign. You got the guys in the ivory tower that you got to answer to, right? So maybe the ivory tower in that sense is going to be going through some change right now. But basically in that sense, basically what I'm seeing here is the idea that he has walked away from it. He's gotten offers. He's gotten some very big offers to be a part of World Economic Forum, to be completely secure, to be made into a millionaire, and he's basically turned it down. He's actually a very genuine person. Okay, that's what I'm getting here from that, and I feel like he's going to go far. It feels like the mainstream, basically you could say the deep state, in that sense, is basically trying to bash him, trying to basically say this guy's a fool and he's not going to get anywhere. But he's bound and determined to really want to offer service to people. Okay. So this is, again, what the cards are telling me, okay? Intuitively, when I look at Pierre P, I actually do see a very good person, okay? You have to have that kind of ruthless streak in regards to a politician in that way. Some people who basically have accused him of being part of the World Economic Forum, well, but this is what I'm talking about. They've approached him. They've very much tried to approach him and tried to recruit him, and he turned them down, right? So I feel like there's a really good thing, a very good nurtured energy that he has. But again, there's that kind of ruthless streak that he has at the same time, and you kind of need that, right? So I think there's going to be some surprises with him in that sense. He's basically what we would call a practical leader, right? He wants to bring a lot of practicality in it. From what I'm sensing, because I had a person here not too long ago, a few weeks ago, just before I went off the air, of one of the broadcasts, and I could see it on the Pierre P has been compromised by the World Economic Forum, and I wasn't able to answer. And I was about to say, no, he hasn't. But no, I'm not getting anything in regards to him being part of the World Economic Forum. He actually addressed this on the air in an interview one time, because there's a person who was basically asking that question, like, are you associated with WEF in any way? I said, no, I'm not. So I've not been approached by them, when in fact he has actually. He has been approached by them, but he turned them down, right? And he says he is not part of a WEF. And so tuning into him, listening to his heart, he is actually a very good person. But we'll just see. We'll see in that sense. There's still kind of a double-sidedness that you still have to kind of be aware of. When I look at him on camera, because I'm able to tune into a person, I know exactly when they're lying. And when I see him, and he has a lot of these promises, and he really sincerely wants to bring all of them out. But I think he may only have a handful to be brought out, depending upon who's sitting at the ivory tower. Should he decide to get in, and if he's prime minister, in regards to where the ivory tower is at that time, right? So maybe at the ivory tower, it's much more the counter forces. Right now, the ivory tower is being invaded. Okay, it's being invaded by counter forces, but what's still sitting at the top is the dark forces. They're still sitting at the top of the ivory tower, but the ivory tower is being invaded right now. Okay, and over time we'll have to see. Maybe we'll just have to do some more checking in and see. But from what I can tell from Pierre, he's a very genuine person, and I can see that in him. All right. So guys, that is going to conclude our broadcast for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me here for the Signposts. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific for New Earth TV Live. We're going to be bringing in Adronis for a transmission. We're going to be doing some more question and answers, and we'll also be doing some distance healing as well too. So join me tomorrow, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And also don't forget that, again, I have the promo code October22 for 22% off your order for Etherics. Okay. The bed kits are available. Okay, this is not available for the bed kits, but the bed kits have their own particular discount. Bed kits, like I said, are the most sophisticated technology that is developed right now. It is the closest thing to a med bed that you will find publicly to actually have in your home is the Taurus bed. I've been, even ever since I updated the codes here a couple nights ago, I've been sleeping like a baby ever since. It's felt incredible. So feel free to check that out. That is on etherics.co. You can even check out our YouTube store. I'm going to be doing a live stream next Wednesday for, I think it'll be next Wednesday. I'll keep you guys updated about that for Etherics as well too. And there'll be more announcements to come and even a giveaway as well. Thank you guys. Take care. Blessings to you all. And I'll see you tomorrow for New Earth TV Live. Take care and may be well with you. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you.